Hey, it's Jeffrey Pepper Rogers here with another episode of Guitar Sessions. And the topic for today are easy, movable chord shapes. So what I just played there was a little jazz swing type progression, and you might consider these jazz chords in a way, but they're really applicable to all kinds of music. And they're movable because they don't use any open strings, so you can play them anywhere on the neck. And yet they are not bar chords. Playing full bar chords can really wear your hand out. These chords use only 3 strings, real easy to hold down, and they're great for creating a kind of punchy rhythm that, again, you can use in all kinds of music. So really useful. And I'm going to give you a sampler of 6 shapes, which are just super useful in many settings and will take you quite far. There's a more extensive lesson on this subject in my book and video called Beyond Strumming. You can take a look at beyondstrumming.com to learn more about that, the lesson on movable non-bar chord shapes. But in any case, I'm going to show you these 6 essential shapes and then put them to work in an arrangement of the standard Let It Snow. And there's a version of it that I recorded with my duo with clarinet that you can check out. And all the chord shapes and the charts for the song are all over on Patreon. So if you want to download those for easy reference, you can go find them there. So let's get started. So as I said, all these shapes use just 3 notes. Another thing they have in common is they all have their lowest note on the 6th string. Important to realize that these chords do not necessarily contain every note implied in the chord name. Some are missing the 5th. And some don't have the root on the bottom either. And all these chord shapes skip over strings. So if you look at the chord diagrams, you'll see those X'd out strings. So as I said, we're only using 3 strings. So the other 3 strings are X'd out, which means you got to mute them. Either just not play them or just touch them with your fretting fingers so that you can strum across all the strings and have only the fretted notes ring out. So let's take a look at this set of chord shapes. I'm going to show them here around the 5th fret. All right, our first shape is a straight up major. So I'm going to play this up at the 5th fret. So this is an A major at the 5th fret, just the 6th, 5th, and 3rd strings. The other ones are muted. I'm just touching the unwanted strings so that I can strum all the way across and not hear any of them ring. So that's a major. Here's another major. Where I've actually got the 6th, 4th, and 3rd strings. This is a D shape over an A, so it's got the 5th in the bass. It doesn't have the root in the bass. So, but that's another straight major chord. This one is a 6 chord. So this at the 5th fret here is an A6. 6th chord is one you can often substitute for a straight major chord and a song for a little jazzy flavor. And then if I were to raise that 4th string up a fret, here's a 7th chord voicing. This at the 5th fret is an A7, so I'm playing it now with my middle ring and pinky fingers. Could also finger it various ways depending on what's comfortable. I could play it with my index, middle, pinky, index, middle, ring. But a really useful 7th chord voicing just on 3 strings. Strings 6, 4, and 3. And then here is a minor 7th voicing. I'm playing the 6th, 4th, and 3rd strings at the 5th fret. So that's an A minor 7. And I'm doing it with my middle ring and pinky fingers right now, but I could do it like this with the middle finger on the bass and then the other ones with a bar with my index finger. I could play it like this. My first 3 fingers, depending on what's comfortable. And then just one more voicing, which I think of as kind of a chameleon. So the shape is this. Again, doing this at the 5th fret right now. I've got the 5th fret on the 6th string, 4th fret on the 4th string, 5th fret on the 3rd string. The other one's all muted. So I call it a chameleon chord because in context, it could register as different chords. This could come over as a D7 over A. So like there's a D7 chord or a D7 over A, and if I just reduce that, I get this. It might seem funny to call it a D7 over A because I'm not even playing a D note at all, but again, in the context, it might register as that chord. But it also could register as an A diminished chord. So maybe you've seen this. Here's the full voicing of the diminished chord. Well, if I just take the bottom part of that, I've just got those 3 notes. So depending on where the progression is going, it could sound like a diminished chord. And I like these diminished shapes. You can actually move it. So up 3 frets, you'll get the same notes in a different stack with a different one on the bottom. So those all have the same notes. I just took that same shape, moved it up 3 frets, moved it up 3 frets again, and moved it up 3 frets again. So again, this could be an A diminished chord. It could also be an A minor 6 would be another way to think about this chord. So it's a kind of an interesting shape that can be used in a lot of different contexts. So now let's check out this arrangement of Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. Got to say it 3 times, which comes from 1945, music by Jules Stein, lyrics by Sammy Kahn, recorded by everybody, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Ella Fitzgerald, all kinds of classic versions of it. This arrangement is in the key of B flat. The verse section is in B flat, and then for the bridge, for the B section, it actually modulates to the key of F. So B flat and F, both are keys that don't give you many chances to use open strings, but we're using movable chord shapes, so no worries about that. We can play in any key, flat key, no matter. So let me just run through the parts of this song. So to kick off Let It Snow, so they're going to be playing this again in the key of B flat, starting with my root here on the 6th string, 6th fret, and I'm gonna kick it off with that B flat major, and then play a little intro, which is kind of a classic little bit of swing jazz. Major, 1. Here's the up 1 fret, the diminished chord voicing. So that's like a sharp 1 diminished. So this is B flat major to B diminished. There's a C minor 7. And then an F7 over C. So that little sequence is just like that is just a standard little kind of intro move. 1, sharp 1 diminished, 2, and the 5. So that's what we're going to use for our intro. And then we go into the body of the song. We go from, and the other thing is you can try that same thing except use the 6 chord instead of just the straight major. So there's a B flat 6. So if I were to do another way to play it using the 6 for your 1 chord. All right, so in the verse, we go from B flat to F7 over C, back to B flat. And we're going to go B flat diminished. And I'm going to go up to this F over C. Now a lot of times when I play that, because I can go, but as I mentioned before, since I can take that diminished chord and play it 3 frets higher and get the same notes, I actually like the sound of playing the diminished chord up as a C sharp diminished instead of a B flat diminished. So where I'm going to have the root of it up here on the 9th fret. So I could play that as B flat, C sharp diminished, F over C. So either or. Kind of like that second version, which is the way the voices change. So that's the first line of the verse section. And then we're going to go to a C minor 7, a G7 over D. So that's the same as that F7 over C, just moved up a couple frets. So C minor 7, G7 over D, back to C minor 7. And then F7, which I can play with the root on the 5th string, or I can play it as an F7 over C with the root on the 6th string. Often what I'll do is I'll just split that measure and play it first with the F7 with the root on the 5th string, and then move the root over to the 6th string, and then go back down to the B flat. And then I play a little quick turnaround where I walk the bass up, just going up the 6th string, and hit that F7 over C again. That's just tagging that 1 chord by flipping it over to the 5 and then going back to the 1 again. A real common thing to do. So that is how the verse section goes. So let me just play through that verse section. We go B flat. Second time, the last measure is going to be different. This time, I'm headed to a new key for the bridge section, the B section, and I'm going down to grab this. I'm going to change positions, and I'm going to use the C7 over G as my pivot to get into the new key, which is F. So I'm going from B flat, C7 over G, and then I land on that F, which is the same major shape I was using for the B flat. And then in the bridge part, go between F, that's F to C7 over G to F, just like we did in B flat, except move down over here. So F, C7, F, and then quick F sharp diminished, just to take me to the 2, which is a G minor 7, and a C7 over G, back to F. So here's the first part of that bridge again. C7, F, F sharp diminished, G minor 7, C7, F. I'll play that again. And then it starts off the same way. And the next part of the bridge, F, C7, F. Except this time, we got a G7 instead of a G minor 7. Now I'm going to slide all the way up to play a C7 up here, the 8th fret, and end it with a F over C, F7 over C. So this is the second part of the bridge. F. And then I'm back to B flat again. So here goes the whole progression, starting with the intro. 1, 2, 3, and... verse. To the bridge. Back to the verse. Just held on to that 5 chord a little longer at the end. All right, so that is Let It Snow. And as I said before, you can listen to the full version of that, where I use these chords in a duet setting with clarinet. And I'll put that link in here. All the chord charts for this lesson and for the song are over on Patreon, so you can go check those out, as well as got all kinds of library of other guitar sessions lessons that you can find up here on YouTube. And again, all of the notation is over on Patreon. So I hope you had fun with these songs, and try taking these shapes and just slipping them into other arrangements that you have. It can be a really great thing to reduce chords down like this to just a few strings to create really tight, nice sounding rhythm parts. So once again, I'm Jeffrey Pepper Rogers, and thanks for watching.